It all started with a flash of light. Not the kind Spider-Man usually swings away from. Not an explosion, not lightning, not even one of Electro's tantrums. This was something different. Peter Parker was mid-swing across New York, chasing the Vulture through Times Square, when the sky split open. Colors he'd never seen before twisted in the air. Gravity folded sideways. And before he could even yell what the light swallowed him whole. When the world reformed, Peter wasn't in New York anymore. He wasn't even on his Earth. He landed in the middle of a city unlike anything he'd ever seen. Towering statues, golden domes, and a skyline that felt ancient yet futuristic. And then he saw it. A massive banner stretched across a skyscraper with the words, "Metropolis welcomes Superman." Peter froze. Wait, Metropolis? Superman. His heart sank as realization hit. Somehow, someway, Spider-Man had landed in the DC universe. Within minutes, he learned something else. His arrival hadn't gone unnoticed. A sonic boom echoed from the clouds, and the air rippled. Before Peter could react, a red and blue blur landed right in front of him. The ground cracked beneath the figure's boots. "Superman, are you okay, son?" he asked, his voice calm but firm, the kind of voice that could stop wars. Peter, starstruck and awkward as ever, stammered, yeah, fine. Totally normal day. Just, fell through a hole in the sky." Superman smiled, that reassuring, all-American grin, but his eyes said something else. He was analyzing Peter, scanning him, trying to understand the suit, the readings, the strange energy signature. Within seconds, Batman appeared beside them, because of course he did. No sound, no warning, just the shadow of a man who somehow made the world feel colder. "Alien energy signature," Batman muttered. "Not Kryptonian. Not magic. Something else." His eyes narrowed under the cowl. "Who are you?" Peter raised both hands. "Whoa, easy there, Bat-Dad. Name's Spider-Man. I'm from, out of town." Superman looked between them. "Let's take him to the Watchtower." And that's how it began. Spider-Man, Earth's most down-to-earth hero, standing among gods. The Watchtower, a satellite fortress orbiting Earth, was everything the Avengers Tower wasn't. No branding, no press, no egos, just purpose. Inside, Peter met them all. Wonder Woman, her presence commanding yet kind. The Flash, grinning ear to ear, instantly peppering Peter with 100 questions about web fluid and spider powers. Cyborg, fascinated by Peter's tech. And of course, Batman, silently judging everything. For a while, it felt like a dream. They weren't hostile. They were curious. Superman asked him about his world. The Flash wanted to race him, naturally. Wonder Woman called him young warrior, which Peter found both flattering and terrifying. But the tension came when Batman ran his analysis. He found dimensional radiation still clinging to Peter's cells, the kind that could tear open wormholes if not contained. "You're a variable," Batman said. "If that energy destabilizes, it could create another breach." "So, I'm basically a ticking time bomb?" Peter asked. "Exactly." For once, Spider-Man didn't have a quip ready. Days turned into weeks. The League helped Peter adjust, even built him a containment field in the Watchtower's labs. But what surprised him most wasn't their power, it was their weight. Every hero here carried something heavy. Guilt, loss, duty. He watched Superman handle crises across the globe, but when he came back, he always looked tired. He saw Batman refuse to sleep, working endlessly in the dark. And Wonder Woman, her fire never dimmed, but her eyes held centuries of battle scars. This world was harsher than Peter's. Its heroes weren't friendly neighborhood types. They were mythic protectors. He began to realize, maybe his brand of humor, his optimism, his humanity, maybe that's what this world was missing. When an alien invasion hit Coast City, Spider-Man joined the fight. He didn't wait for permission. He swung through fire, saved civilians, and even cracked a few jokes mid-battle. At first, the League thought he was reckless. But when Wonder Woman saw him lift debris off a trapped child while webbing up drones left and right, she smiled. "This one has heart," she said. But not everyone agreed. Batman remained skeptical. "He's unpredictable," Bruce said during a council meeting. He doesn't follow command structure. He improvises. Sometimes that's what we need, said Superman. Someone who sees things differently. Peter, sitting awkwardly nearby, raised a hand. I can hear you guys, you know. Superman chuckled. Batman didn't. Later that night, Batman approached Peter in the training room. You're not a soldier, Batman said. You're a street-level hero. Why are you here? Peter shrugged. Because someone's got to look out for the little guy. Doesn't matter what universe you're in. Batman's eyes softened, just barely. That's what Clark says. Then he turned and walked away. But as Peter settled in, the truth of his arrival began to unfold. That dimensional energy inside him, it wasn't fading. In fact, it was growing. Cyborg detected spikes every time Peter used his web shooters. Dr. Fate appeared one evening out of nowhere, warning, the weave of reality trembles around you, Spider-Man. Someone, or something, followed you through. That's when the League realized Spider-Man's arrival wasn't an accident. Something had sent him here, and it wasn't done yet. One night, while analyzing the data, the Watchtower's systems glitched. Static filled the screens, lights flickered, and a distorted voice echoed through the speakers. You cannot contain the web. The strands connect all worlds. Then an image appeared, a humanoid figure made of black and white energy, its face shifting between realities. Peter froze. He knew that presence. That voice. That darkness. Venom, he whispered. Superman's eyes widened. What is that? Peter's voice cracked. That shouldn't even be possible. Because this wasn't just his Venom. This was something bigger. Something born from the multiverse itself. And it wanted him back. The League prepared for war. Superman rallied the team. Batman studied every particle of the distortion. And Peter just stood there, realizing what this all meant. He wasn't brought here by chance. He was being hunted. And the Justice League was now caught in the web. For the first time since arriving in the DC universe, Spider-Man wasn't cracking jokes. Because now, things had gotten personal. The mysterious voice that reached out through the Watchtower wasn't just another villain. It was something older, darker, and far more dangerous than anything Peter had ever faced. And somehow it knew him. But in this world, Spider-Man wasn't the only hero who sensed danger. Inside the Watchtower's command deck, alarms screamed through the corridors. Dimensional readings spiked beyond known limits. Superman turned to Batman. Whatever this thing is, it's using Peter as an anchor. We can't let it breach this reality. Batman's jaw tightened. Then we find a way to sever the connection. But Peter stepped forward. Wait, you can't just shut it off. You're talking about my entire existence here. You do that, and I might end up like scrambled Wi-Fi. Flash tried to lighten the mood. Hey, maybe if we run fast enough, we can reboot reality. No one laughed. Wonder Woman placed a hand on Peter's shoulder. We will not sacrifice you, Spider-Man. But if this force threatens our world, we must face it together. And that's when it hit him. He wasn't alone. For the first time in his life, Peter Parker, the loner, the outcast, the neighborhood guy, had gods and legends standing by his side. Days later, it happened. A crack appeared above Gotham City, a tear of swirling black and white energy that screamed across the sky like a living wound. Batman was already there, coordinating evacuations. Superman arrived seconds later, the sound barrier exploding as he flew past. Wonder Woman and Flash followed. And through that rip came it. A creature that looked like Venom, but wasn't. Its body was a storm of symbiotic matter, dripping, mutating, changing form with every second. And its voice was everywhere. I am the Web Eternal, and you are mine. Peter landed between the League and the creature. He stared at it, heart pounding. That's not Venom. That's something wearing venom like a costume. The creature hissed, forming jagged teeth that glowed white hot. You are the thread that binds worlds, Parker. You crossed the weave. You broke the web. The ground split open as it unleashed a shockwave, sending Batman and Flash crashing through debris. Superman charged, fists glowing with solar power, but the entity's tendrils caught him midair and drained his energy. Even the Man of Steel staggered. Spider-Man leapt in, webbing Superman free. The tendrils tore through his webs like paper, but Peter didn't stop. He dodged, rolled, kicked, and even in the face of a cosmic horror, he couldn't help shouting, "Buddy, I've fought symbiotes before. You're just extra gooey." The creature roared, shaking the city. Lightning flickered red across the skyline. Batman called through comms. "It's absorbing energy. Any power it touches, it adapts to. Physical attacks are useless." Cyborg's voice crackled in next. "Then we hit it with something it can't adapt to." Wonder Woman stepped forward, drawing the lasso of truth, its golden glow slicing through the storm. "Monster, face the truth of your creation." The lasso wrapped around part of the creature, and it screamed. For a second, everyone saw visions flash before their eyes, worlds consumed by black webs. Heroes erased. 1,000 versions of Spider-Man, each fighting, dying, reborn again. And then the voice whispered through them all, "The web of life and destiny belongs to me." After the battle, they regrouped in the watchtower. Superman had barely recovered. The creature had retreated into the rift, but the readings were growing worse. Dr. Fate appeared, his golden helm glowing. "I know what this is," he said. "It is not merely a symbiote. It is a fragment of the primordial web, the force that connects all realities. It has sensed Parker's disruption and seeks to reclaim him." Batman folded his arms. "So it's not after conquest. It's after balance." "Balance," Fate said grimly. "Through annihilation." Peter sat quietly. All his life, he'd been protecting his city, one neighborhood, one street at a time. Now, his existence was threatening the entire multiverse. "Great," he muttered. "Only I could manage to cause a cosmic crisis just by existing." Superman leaned forward. "Peter, you didn't cause this. You're part of something bigger. The question is, how do we stop it?" Cyborg and Batman worked through the night. They discovered the creature was tethered to a dimensional nexus, a central node that connected the multiversal web. If they could locate it, maybe they could cut off the entity from feeding on Peter's reality signature. But it wasn't that simple. Dr. Fate warned that entering the nexus would be dangerous. Even gods could be unmade within the web. But perhaps one who was born of it could survive. All eyes turned to Spider-Man. "Me?" he said. "Yeah, sure. Just throw the guy who gets nosebleeds from quantum physics into the cosmic blender." "No problem." Batman placed a small device on the table, a dimensional stabilizer modified from Cyborg's tech. "If you go in," Bruce said, "this will keep your molecular structure intact. For about 5 minutes." Peter nodded. 5 minutes. "Got it. No pressure." Superman placed a hand on his shoulder. "We'll be right behind you." Peter smiled faintly. "No offense, big guy, but if this thing feeds on power, you might just make it stronger. Maybe this one's on me." Wonder Woman looked him in the eye. "Then you carry the spirit of a true warrior." The portal shimmered in front of them, a spinning vortex of energy threads, pulsing like a heartbeat. Peter took a deep breath, pulled his mask tight, and looked back. "Okay, Justice League," he said. "If I don't make it back, tell Batman I think he's cool. Just don't tell him I said that." Flash grinned. "You got it, Spidey." And then he jumped. Inside, reality dissolved into color. He was falling. No, swinging. Across threads of light stretching into infinity. Each strand showed flashes of worlds. The Avengers, the X-Men, Gotham, Metropolis, Atlantis, all interconnected like a web. And at the center, waiting for him, was the creature, massive, endless, a storm of void and hunger. "You cannot escape the weave, Spider-Man. You are the weave." Peter's voice echoed back, calm yet fierce. "Maybe. But I'm also Peter Parker. And I don't back down." He fired a web line, not at the creature, but into the fabric of the web itself. The stabilizer on his wrist began to glow, syncing with the strands. For a second, the web responded, like it recognized him. And that's when Peter realized something. He wasn't just trapped in the web. He was connected to it. He could control it. Outside, in the real world, the Justice League fought to keep the rift from collapsing. Lightning, debris, chaos. Then, suddenly, silence. The rift began to shrink. Inside, Peter used the web like a weapon. He redirected its energy back into the creature, unraveling it strand by strand. "You want balance?" he yelled. "Then take mine." The creature howled as the entire multiverse vibrated. Then light. And nothing. When Peter woke up, he was lying on the watchtower floor. Superman was there. So was Batman, Wonder Woman, and the others. "You did it," Clark said. Peter groaned. "Please tell me I didn't just reboot reality again." Cyborg smiled. "Nah, just saved it." But the readings told another story. The creature was gone, but part of its energy remained. Inside him, the watchtower was silent. Superman floated beside the panoramic glass, staring down at the blue curve of Earth. Batman stood in the shadows, eyes fixed on the readings flickering across Cyborg's display. And Spider-Man, or maybe something slightly more than Spider-Man, sat at the center of it all, breathing heavy, head in his hands. The scans were clear. The symbiotic energy that had once tried to consume the multiverse was gone. But fragments of it, faint traces of cosmic web thread, still pulsed within Peter's cells. The others couldn't feel it. He could. It whispered. And in the whisper, Peter heard something that chilled him. Not words. Intent. It was calling. "Whatever came through that rift," Cyborg said, "part of it's still inside him. It's stabilizing, but if that energy spikes again, it could reopen the breach," Batman finished. Superman turned toward them. "Then we have to help him contain it. No one's sacrificing anything." Peter looked up, his voice low. "What if that's not possible, Clark? What if this thing isn't meant to be contained?" Superman smiled softly. "Then we'll find another way." Peter chuckled, bitterly. "You always sound so sure of that. Where I come from, hope gets people killed." Wonder Woman's voice was firm. "And where we come from, hope brings them back." He looked around at these heroes, gods, warriors, legends, and realized something terrifyingly beautiful. They weren't fighting to protect their world. They were fighting to protect everyone's. Over the next few days, Peter trained with the League to control the residual energy. Under Dr. Fate's guidance, he learned to sense the vibrations of the multiversal threads that lingered in him. It wasn't power, not like strength or speed, but awareness. He could feel the connections between worlds, faint but real. He saw flashes, glimpses of his own universe. Aunt May, MJ, Miles, the Avengers. And then, darker visions. Worlds falling into shadow. Heroes twisted by corruption. The web wasn't dead. It was alive. And someone, was trying to repair it. Fate confirmed what Peter suspected. The creature you faced was merely a herald of a deeper force. A consciousness born from the collapse of realities. Its goal was not to destroy, but to unify. Batman frowned. Unify through domination. Fate nodded. Exactly. To make one perfect reality. One web. No choice. No chaos. Peter clenched his fists. "Yeah, well, I've met enough tyrants with god complexes. I'm not letting another one rewrite existence." Superman smiled faintly. Spoken like a Justice Leaguer. But destiny wasn't done. The alarms hit again 2 days later, stronger, louder, more violent than before. Cyborg's sensors went red. "We've got another breach, this time over Metropolis." Superman was gone before anyone could blink, the air cracking behind him. Peter followed, swinging through the teleporter's dimensional gate, landing on the rooftop of the Daily Planet, or what was left of it. Above them, a vortex of silver light tore open, and from it stepped something familiar. A man in a suit of living web armor, eyes glowing white, voice dripping with purpose. "Peter Parker, you were chosen. But you resisted." It wasn't Venom. It wasn't even the same entity from before. This was the Weaver, the original architect of the multiversal web, an ancient being who once balanced the connections between realities, now corrupted by the collapse of the old multiverse. "You deny the destiny of the web," the Weaver boomed. "Without order, all worlds will die." Superman hovered beside Peter, eyes blazing with heat vision. "Then maybe they'll live free." The Weaver sneered. "Your strength means nothing here, Kryptonian. You are but one thread." What followed wasn't just a fight. It was a cosmic symphony of power, speed, and sacrifice. Superman charged, punching through waves of energy that shattered the skyline. Wonder Woman's lasso tore through reality itself, anchoring the city to the fabric of existence. Flash ran through collapsing time pockets, pulling civilians out milliseconds before they vanished. And Batman, always one step ahead, used Cyborg's tech to triangulate the Weaver's dimensional anchor. But at the center of it all was Spider-Man. The energy inside him reacted to the Weaver's power. His veins glowed with light. The world flickered between universes, flashes of Gotham, New York, Asgard, Wakanda, all overlapping. He realized what the Weaver was doing. He wasn't just merging worlds. He was weaving them together permanently. If he succeeded, individuality, freedom, even identity would cease to exist. Every reality would become one perfect, lifeless web. Peter turned to Superman, shouting through the chaos. If I tap into this thing, if I give it what it wants, I can collapse the web, stop the fusion. Batman's voice came through the comm. You'll die if you do that. Peter grinned under his mask. Yeah, well, add it to the list. Superman flew closer, grabbing Peter by the shoulders. There's always another way, Peter. Peter looked him in the eyes. You taught me that hope means fighting for something bigger than yourself. Right now, that's everyone. Superman's grip loosened. He understood. Then don't die for them, Clark said softly. Live for them. Peter smiled. No promises. He launched upward, higher and higher, until he reached the vortex itself. The web energy flared from his body, connecting every thread of existence. The Weaver roared, wrapping Peter in tendrils of cosmic silk. You cannot unmake the web. Peter's voice echoed across universes. Yeah? Watch me. He activated the stabilizer Batman had built, amplifying it with the residual symbiote power. The device overloaded instantly, tearing through the web. A blinding light exploded across the sky. The rift collapsed inward, dragging the Weaver back into the void, along with Peter. And then silence. When the light faded, Metropolis was whole again. The rift was gone. And so was Spider-Man. Superman floated above the city, scanning endlessly. Nothing. Batman clenched his fists. He's gone. Wonder Woman closed her eyes. No, he's free. Then, hours later, in a quiet alley of Gotham, a portal flickered open. And out stumbled Peter Parker. Mask torn, suit shredded, but alive. Superman appeared instantly, grinning. You didn't listen. Peter groaned. Hey, you said live for them. I just took the scenic route back. The League surrounded him. No words. Just respect. He wasn't just the kid from Queens anymore. He was one of them. Back in the Watchtower, Dr. Fate observed the stars. The threads have been restored, he said quietly. The multiverse heals. Batman adjusted his cowl. And Parker? Fate smiled under his helm. He carries the blessing of the web. Should he return home, he will never walk alone. As the stars shimmered, Peter looked out the window, across worlds, across destinies, and whispered, Guess I really am part of the bigger picture. And somewhere out there, in another world, another Spider-Man smiled back.